Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the participants of the 11th International Conference on Teaching, Education, and Learning in Bali. I wish we could meet in person in Bali, but alas, we are still online. Therefore, let me begin my talk today on the topic of inclusion. Inclusion is a mindset. Some educators, like Daniel Sobel from Global Inclusive Teaching Initiative, even say that inclusion is a verb. And I happen to agree, because inclusion in the broad sense of the word requires action on the part of the leader or the group to include all members of the group in an activity. So how does this look in a classroom setting, regardless of the age group? Well, I've been an educator for a long time in an international setting. And if you have had this kind of experience, you'll know that each year or even each semester, you face a new set of students in the classroom from different cultural backgrounds, different sets of values, different upbringing, and on top of that, a number of various learning challenges. And the teacher's task is not only to convey knowledge to the students, but also support them in their development of a range of skills and competencies. Understanding each other's differences and challenges, and also strengths and weaknesses, is really essential for establishing effective collaboration to learn together. So, what is the key to success? The word is belonging. How can we make every student feel like they belong in our classroom, like they're included? How can we make our classes a safe place for taking risks, making errors, trying again and again, and learning from the conclusions that we draw? So let's learn together. And let's share that knowledge later on. So let's first think, what does inclusion mean for me as an educator? Is it making sure that all eyes are on me, or all ears listen to me, all students focus on me? Does it mean I have students with disabilities in the classroom and I have to figure out how to include them in the activities? Or does it mean something else? You decide. You think about that. Well, we can also look at it from the point of view of the student. When do the students not feel included in the classes? When do they feel like they're outsiders? When do they feel excluded or even threatened? A lot of the times that's because of a lack of or limited opportunities for real active participation in the class, or collaboration in a pair, in a group, or with anybody. Sometimes the interaction with the teacher is limited, and interactions with other students are also limited. And especially that is true of online lessons. What are the issues leading to exclusion and this lack of inclusion? There are a number of them for sure, and these on the slide are just a few. Overloaded or poorly structured curriculum, limited choice of textbooks, time limits, overworked, burnt out teachers, especially in some countries in public schools, and also lack of specialist support. And that, again, often happens in public schools. And what do they lead to? They lead to a number of serious flaws in the kind of education that the students are receiving. And we can see that their flaws could be in the development of key competencies, that students perhaps will get disengaged, silent, or bored, and the quality of the teaching and learning especially will decrease. But let's not dwell on the issue, and let's try to figure out some solutions. How can we change our mindset and ensure that inclusion is an everyday element of our pedagogy, that we're not just doing it occasionally? Well, first of all, knowing your students is essential. It's paramount. It's so important and so valuable later on in the school year if you spend the first few weeks of the semester or year, in case of long year-long classes, getting to know your students and ensuring that they get to know each other, that they become a crucial element in that supportive environment that you create, and that they are also including each other. Students must feel that this class, this group of students is important to them, and they are important to the group. It's a mutual feeling of respect and support. It's a sense of belonging, and a sense of belonging is one of the 5 elements of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and that was thought of in 1943, long time. And until this need is satisfied, no real learning can occur. So let's remember that. These kids, the students in our classes, need to feel like they belong. They need to feel included. So how can we create this atmosphere of belonging? I've collected some examples of good practices that could be used in the classroom. These examples span a number of pedagogical strategies. They include relationship building activities, various small group activities, critical thinking strategies, and a lot more. You may find some of these familiar. You perhaps are using them already, but also perhaps there are a few that you might want to try out in the near future. One of the first things we need to remember is that sense of belonging comes from the human interactions. They need to be safe. They need to be respectful. The students themselves need to be sensitive to the differences amongst themselves, and they not only need to feel that they are valued by the teacher, but that they also learn to value each other's differences. And that is a teacher's task at the very beginning of the school year, to set up that atmosphere that allows the class to feel, to build that atmosphere of belonging and inclusion. So the first thing is the buy-in. The buy-in is extremely important. We often start the semester with, or the year with a set of rules that we want the students to follow. And that is the first step to miss inclusion. Allow the students to generate a list of guidelines that they themselves want to follow to ensure a happy, fun, collaborative atmosphere that is safe for everyone and includes everyone in the learning process safely. Okay, remember that your classroom can be made up of many different students. They look different. They may have some visual differences, and if students are allowed to exclude some of them, then you will have that problem of some of the students feeling excluded and feeling like they don't belong. What about the activities? The activities can be various iterations of peer-to-peer teaching, for example. And when you put 2 kids together, you get them to do some of the work, and you're not the only one doing the work in the classroom. So You can set up any kind of scenarios for pairs or small groups to work together, and you've got everyone in the classroom that's included in actively listening, or writing, or discussing, or experimenting, or whatever the task is, because you may be teaching a variety of subjects. Sharing notes is another way of getting all students involved in the learning, as they need to get up and post them on a taped piece of paper on the wall, or come up to a whiteboard or an idea wall, read each other's thoughts, comment on them, and also share these ideas. It's really important to pre-teach some fragments of sentences, sentence starters, phrases that you would want the students to include in their comments, and ensure that they understand why it is important to speak in a language that is polite and shows understanding of each other.
Just say come to then move to Jakarta for you made a comment and that is
This is that advice and
brothels, and she like for each brothel she was bought for like
he had a child, his child was in
not that much,
and that child was like
and then
so many times,
one like of the major.
So divide and slide is a bigger group activity. It works well with rows of up to 10 students. So if you have more, you can create two groups. Students in each row face each other with their notes in their hand, and share research information in a minute or two. And then you move one person down the road and share again. It works for a number of learning purposes, like fact recall, Q&A for test prep, and that kind of activities. But the main point today is being included in the fun, despite a disability that you may have. So having all of the students included in the activity is very important. Learning together, sharing together.
The description of the red list. There's one quotation where it says, "Let's try to make him come out. I'd like to see what he looks like." So it kind of
and it also proves that he's really curious about food, because Jam explained Boo's appearance before he said it, but still want to know about Boo. So.
And also he asks question that says, "Wonder what he looks like." He probably wants to know more about Boo Radley, and he wants him to come out from his house.
So this activity was 3 students, as you saw, sharing their knowledge and understanding of a text, putting their heads together, and later presenting it to the rest of the class, so that they had to make choices, decisions, what to say, and of course in what order, making sure that they are able to present clearly. The learner activities can also be learner to learner, where everybody is kind of on the same page, not knowing what to do. So these activities that you can set may be equally challenging for the students, and they will enter a learner-learner relationship. And after a while, though, you might see that some of the students are more advanced in a variety of areas of either of your subject matter, or have various strengths in skill areas too. And that's when you can set up different activities where the one of the students becomes a tutor. Learning together as a tutor and learner allows one of the students to become a tutor in an area, either knowledge or skills, and teach the others in the group. If we ensure that all of the students in the class feel like they belong, feel like they're included, feel safe and valued for their contribution in the group discussion or in the group activities or projects or the learning that is happening, that will definitely yield effects for everyone and lead to success also for everyone. So here are some example simple activities that are structured for different subject matter. Math, for example, chunking time in the lesson and moving from the individual to a pair to a whole class discussion, so that this allows the teacher to talk to some of the students while they are working in pairs. Creative arts, for example, students, when they are working independently, the teachers also can meet their individual needs. And, for example, in modern languages, including the students' life and identity in the subject matter that is being taught. 3 things that you can do tomorrow. You can chunk your lessons with different interaction and activities. You can also try to apply the 10 to 5 rule and including in your lesson plan a time that allows every student to talk. It could be really talking to a partner or a self-reflection or a group activity or one-on-one with the teacher, so that every student really has participated vocally in the class and feels like they belong and they have been included. You can listen to my student Tobin. He was a deaf-mute student who studied English in my class for 3 years and was the very first student that, at least that I know of, that took the IB English B oral exam. Not only did he pass, he got a score of 6. Brilliant work, thanks to the inclusivity mindset, not only of me, but also the students he worked with for the 3 years that he was in my class.
Why has group work made me a better person? Even though some people prefer to work by themselves, group work can still empower you. Empowerment through group work results from the development of communication skills, the sharing of various perspectives, and the resolution of complicated problems. These important factors have enabled me to open doors to a new world.
Daniel Sobel's checklist is something that is a very important element of trying to change your classroom or even your whole school to become an inclusive school. This takeaway checklist shows that you can check all of the things that are happening or should be happening in your classes and your school. That includes access, physical access for the students to the classrooms, and it also includes the relationships that exist between the teachers and the students, and of course the parents as well. So that's also very important, and you can use this checklist. The source is the IFIP group that Daniel Sobel has begun, and the inclusion, that's a verb, belonging, and schools. So inclusive teaching is a mindset. When you believe in the benefits of this inclusivity, you will strive to encourage every child and ensure that every child feels at home in your classroom. And that every child walks in every day with a smile on his or her face, eager to participate and learn in a safe atmosphere and feel that they belong. So thank you for your attention and have a wonderful school year, ensuring that you include all of your students in your everyday teaching and learning.